Hi, I'm Andrew Halsman. I work at Family Tree Counseling Associates in Carmel, Indiana. I'm available if you wish to call me by Skype at andrew.holzman, Holzman 2, or you can contact me at my phone number 317-457-8668. Also available at aholzman2 at comcast.net. And I would welcome your call, welcome talking to you. We do clients all over the world, all over the country, and talk to them about the issues that we specialize in: shame, avoidance, abandonment, marital issues, especially family issues. So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'd be happy to talk to you. I'm calling this video how to avoid an affair. And of course, there's lots of factors that go into someone having an affair. And I don't think in the few minutes that I have, I can deal with all of those factors. But I just wanted to mention a few things in my years of working with people that have sparked thought and sparked discussion. So, number one, if you're a spouse, don't leave yourself exposed. For example, here's a little story. If you go on vacation and you leave your front door is wide open and put a sign on them and said, "Come in and take everything you want," well, you should not be terribly surprised when you come home that there'd be a big emptiness in your house, and a lot of notes saying thanks because everything was taken. And that's what a lot of spouses do inadvertently. They avoid physical intimacy, they avoid connection, emotional, physical connection, and then wonder why their spouse cheats on them. Well, if there's not much in the relationship, if there's not much connection, whether it's physical or emotional, then people will go towards something they need. They will find a way to take care of themselves. So, a lot of times I hear clients talk about, well, our relationship is good. I was surprised that my spouse cheated on me. And then when we delve into it a little closer, there really isn't much of a relationship. They're good parents, they're good partners, business partners, but they're not really talking because maybe they're too tired, they're new parents, or they, there's not physical intimacy because they're not feeling good about how they look, how a person looks, or they're working a lot. Again, they're good partners and they may be good parents and probably are good parents and taking care of all kinds of things, paying the bills. But the reason why they got married was not to pay bills. The reason why they got married was not to work. The reason why they got married was to connect. And that connection, because of a variety of reasons, specifically your comfort with intimacy, your comfort with connection, your feeling intruded upon possibly. It's hard to be in a relationship sometimes, or maybe all the time, because you have that person in your life for 24/7, and they're always there, and they're in the bed next to you, or they're eating with you, or going places with you, and you don't have a lot of privacy. So unless you create boundaries, and that's part of this too, boundaries are a good thing. Disconnection, cut off, not talking, just holding on to your feelings and letting them build up, that's not a good thing. So the difference is a boundary would be talking and saying, hey, I need a little space right now. I need to go out with my friends, or I need to go sit in the other room and, play on the computer or watch TV or go out or do something that you want to do. That's a boundary. Cutoff is what a lot of couples deal with, which is day after day of quiet desperation, as the saying goes, where they don't just deal with each other and they deal with what they have to deal with in their life, but not deal with connecting and being close and, again, being physical intimacy. So, often what I see is the lack of self-esteem or the poor body image might be in the person's head, and if they reach out to their partner, if they're able to get past their own judgment of themselves, they might find that it's not as bad as they think, and that the other person would like to be close to them. And it's not just about sex. it's hardly ever about sex. That's part of it, of course. It's an important part, but it's about feeling loved and feeling cared about and feeling important and feeling validated and feeling like the person who you're with thinks about you. And that's an important part of this. So that's one way that I have noticed that it's important for a relationship to go forward and to kind of avoid the possibility of being cheated on. Another one is if you're feeling some of these things, and this is on the particular the person, not the spouse as much, but if you're feeling that you're being ignored, or you're feeling non-validated or non-cared about, the things I just talked about, then what do you do about that? If you do nothing, if you just let it go, if you just drift along, then that's going to build up. And then you're prime for that person at work, or that person at your gym, or wherever you encounter that person who looks at you with a smile, gives you a kind word, the person who you work with who you feel simpatico and comfortable with. And that's human nature, that you want to feel good about yourself. So what do you do in this situation? Well, you have to initially deal with, in your marriage, in your relationship, that you're feeling disconnected. You have to force the issue. People are not comfortable with conflict. People are not comfortable with forcing what they're interpreting. They just let it build up and let it drift on and go away, and think it's going to go away, but it's not going to go away, because they're working towards a better future, raising the kids, all of that again. But marriage, relationships are about intimacy. If you're not feeling intimate, if you're not feeling connected, and you don't push it, and you don't say to your spouse, this is really hard for me, we're really having a hard time, we need to talk, maybe go to counseling, but at least talk, at least deal with what you're going through. And that's hard for people, because people don't, like I said, don't like conflict, or maybe they're raised in a family where things are not talked about, or they're just naturally quiet. Men tend to be naturally, not as connected with their emotions, but they are there. They do build up. And if they build up enough, there's got to be a release. And a release can be an emotional or physical affair. Usually emotional affairs, not always, but a lot of the time, will lead to a physical affair. So if you don't pay attention to and push how upset you're feeling, or how disconnected, or how alone you're feeling, well, then you're cruising for bruising. You're creating the possibility of a big explosion later on. Yes, it's hard. It's hard to talk about what you're feeling. It's hard to even get in touch with that sometimes. But if you get to the point where you're ready to do something that might go against your values, which is to be with somebody, sleep with somebody else, then you should have a little kind of biofeedback inside and say, something's gone on here. Something is going on here that I have to talk about with my spouse. Something that I need to deal with. And that's why I'm saying force it. Force yourself to pay attention to those feelings, and force yourself to talk about those feelings and say, I'm thinking that I'm feeling so lonely that it's possible that, X person at work looks interesting to me. Now, that's not going to go well, but will go a lot better than sleeping with that person and then the marriage exploding. So this is something that therapy, counseling can help in helping you to be honest and real and connected with those feelings, because it's really hard for a lot of people. So that's the second part of this. Another thing that you have to do is, if you're finding yourself in a situation where you're attracted to someone, don't go there. You don't have to go there. You don't have to make yourself, or enable yourself, I guess, to go further with that. If you're finding yourself thinking about this person when you go to sleep at night, thinking about this person when you get up in the morning, obsessed or interested in this person more than you might, if you were clear, think is really healthy, then you're in danger. And again, if you're in danger in that way, there's a simple solution. You remove yourself from that situation. Go to the boss and say you want to work you want to work in a different section if that's a possibility. Find some way to, because it can be done. People don't do it because, oh, you're going to shake things up. But after the affair, it happens because then, everything explodes and you have to leave the job or go to a different section or do something different. So the reality is anything can be done that you want to happen. You can be more real with your emotions. You can be connected to your emotions. You can make changes in your life. So this part is making changes in your life. If you can make a change in your life to avoid setting yourself up, to avoid being in this situation, then do it, because otherwise you're going to be finding the end result is much worse. So those are a couple of reasons that I thought would be good ways to avoid an affair. Basically, it's being honest, being real about what you're feeling, what you're going through. Avoid situations that are going to set you up, and be aware that it's important to be intimate in your relationship. I mean, those are kind of simple in some ways, but people don't do them. And so many people get embroiled in something that they don't want to be. They really do love their spouse, and they want their family to go on, and they really have tried to reach out in their own way, but maybe they're ineffective and they give up too quickly, or they give up because they're hitting this wall. It's not like everyone's gonna hear it, but you have to try. You have to really try, and if it doesn't work, it's probably a lot easier to split up than to do the thing that's gonna make the split up in some ways easier but harder, which is have an affair. Easier because then you feel like, oh, if I can go this far, then I can split up. But you don't have to fool yourself that way. You can just split up. But before you split up, way before you split up, there's a lot of things that most people don't do, which is really being direct and honest about what they're going through and what they're feeling and what's important to them. And like I said, force the issue, avoid situations that are going to set you up, and be intimate, be real. Thank you for listening. My name, again, Andrew Holzman of Family Tree Counseling Associates, 317-457-8668. 317-457-8668. A. Holzman, Holzman 2 at Comcast.net. Andrew.Holzman2 is the Skype handle. So thank you. I hope I can hear from you if you want to talk about anything, whether it's relationships, affairs, family. I'm here. Take care and have a good day. Thank you.